So our bodice is ready. As you can see, I had turned the facing. This is the right side of the bodice, and this is the wrong side of the bodice, right? I had even gone ahead to join the side seam. My side seam allowance was 1 inch, and I've ironed it neatly open. So to complete this bodice, we'll need to attach a sleeve to it. Now, if you don't want to attach a sleeve to your bodice, you can use a bias to pipe this edge, cleaning up the rough edges neatly. But I'd left the 0.5 inch sewing allowance to attach a sleeve to this. So I'm going to be cutting my sleeves. But first and foremost, the problem most beginners have is cutting a sleeve that can fit in perfectly into the armhole. So this is what would guide you. Use your tape and measure the length of the entire curve of the armhole. From the shoulder line, place your tape 0 there and measure around the curve till you get to the side seam. This is the side seam, and I just measured 5.5 inches, right? Okay, you can cut your sleeve freehand directly on your fabric, but because I want to make this teaching easy for you to understand, I'm going to be drafting on a brown paper, right? So you pick an edge of your brown paper to represent the center of your sleeve, right? The length of this sleeve, I want it to be 4 inches. 4 inches in length, right? Now that 4 inches mark is exactly where my baby's bicep would lie, and her bicep circumference is 8 inches. So we're going to divide 8 inches by 2. We would have 4 inches. So we come to the pattern and mark 4 inches on the bicep line, as you can see. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to make the cap, the curve of the cap of the sleeve, and we're going to make sure we have exactly that 5.5 inches which we had measured around the armhole, right? So watch, this is a very easy way, very easy way. Make a nice curve like that. Use your tape, measure to where you have the 5 inches mark on the curve, and then you do this, right? There you go. So this is what a simple sleeve looks like. Very easy. Okay, the marker I'd used earlier was a bit faint, so I had to get another marker which is black in color to trace the sleeve back out for you to see, right? So the bicep 4 inches plus 1 inch allowance, and then the cap of the sleeve, which is 5.5 inches plus 1 inch allowance. So there you have it. Now on second thought, I'll like my baby's sleeve for this dress to have fullness at the cap, like a puff sleeve with fullness at the cap of the sleeve. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to alter this sleeve into a sleeve that I would pull gathers up here to have a puff. So I'm going to rule slash lines from the cap of the sleeve down towards the hem of the sleeve. 3 slash lines, as you can see, and I'm going to be cutting putting my scissors in from the cap down to the hem of the sleeve. This is called the slash and spread method of adding fullness to any part of the garment you want to add it to. So I have cut it really close to the hem of the sleeve, as you can see. Next, I'm going to be placing it on another brown paper, ensuring that the center of the sleeve remains in a straight line, as you can see, against the edge of the second brown paper. I would use a pin or a paper tape to fasten the both papers together. Alright, I only fasten this paper at the center, as you can see, while I would spread the rest out. Right? Beautiful, right? Now, you see the spaces in between? The extra fullness I've added, that's what would help me pull gathers to add fullness to the cap of this sleeve. So I'm comfortable with this fullness, so I'm just going to tape this, use my marker, and blend this out, and then I would cut. This is now my new pattern. You've noticed the shape has changed, right? You've noticed that the cap is now way much more fuller than it was before, right? This is going to help me to have enough fabric to pull gathers. All right, so I'm set to cut. This is now my new pattern. We are set to cut. This is the fabric I'm going to be using to cut the sleeve, right? This is a beautiful contrast, yet complementing the pink color of our bodice. This dress is going to be beautiful. All right, remember our sleeve. Let the shape not fool you, right? This is the center of the sleeve. So you neatly fold your fabric. I'm folding the fabric into 4. So I can cut both the left and the right sleeve together. So there you have it. This is my pattern. I would lay my pattern. So here's my sleeve. Take off the pins. Get rid of the pattern. And here you have both the left and the right sleeve. Alright, so our sleeve is ready. I used my bias tape once again to neaten the hem of the sleeve. I've pulled gathers, or yours could be a pleat, whatever you choose, to add fullness to the cap of the sleeve. Now, I would confirm one more time that my sleeve cap is still 5.5 inches. So leaving away 1 inch, which is the seam allowance, I'm going to place my tape there, following the curve of the sleeve cap to ensure that I have 5.5. All right, there you can see. So I will head to my machine and insert this sleeve to the bodice. Ooh, there's nothing as exciting as when what you're sewing comes out exactly the way you want it. So you see I've inserted my sleeve. I have a beautiful puff sleeve here. Simple, nice, basic puff sleeve. This is the wrong side. Once again, I use bias tape to neatly finish the edge because, like I said, my weaving machine is malfunctioning. So now the bodice is finally completed. So next we're going to be dealing with the skirt part, which would attach to the waistline of the bodice. So we're going to cut the skirt part of our 3-tier dress. First and foremost, you must note that a 3-tier dress having several steps or frills on it needs a foundation. So we are going to cut the foundation of the skirt. Now I've placed my fabric on fold here, as you can see. So I'm going to use this edge here to represent the waistline. Right. So this line here will represent the waistline. My baby's waist circumference is 21, divided by 4 would be 5.2, plus 1 inch sewing allowance would be 6.2. So I'll place my tape at the waistline and mark 6.2. Okay, next I'm going to mark the length of this skirt. The length is 14 inches, which also includes the hemming allowance. So placing my tape 0 on the waistline, I'll mark 14 inches downwards. And then I'll rule a line. So this line here is the hem. The hem of the skirt. Now, children's wear are not supposed to be tight, especially at the hem, or fitted at the hem. They are usually full with flare at the hem or with an A-line cut. So I'm going to do an A-line cut at the hem of this dress. So the waist here is 5.2 plus 1 inch sewing allowance, as you can see. So we're going to mark the hem. We'll make the hem fuller than the waist, making the hem plus sewing allowance 8.5 inch. I'll use my yardstick and connect from the waist to the hem, creating a beautiful A-line. Can you see that? So this is the hem. It's actually wider than the waist. So there you have it. So I'll make a little notch just to indicate that that is the waistline. So using this as a guide, we're going to cut the back. Alright, so I've laid out my fabric for the back, which has been doubled, so we can cut the left and the right side of the back. Now this is the front. Using the front as a guide, or would I say pattern, we are going to cut the back. But first and foremost, you have to note that in laying my fabric double, I made sure this edge is equal. That is, the both edges are equal. Secondly, I'm going to mark my zip allowance. I would want my zip allowance to be 1 inch from the edge here. So I'll mark 1 inch all the way down. Using my yardstick, I would connect the points. So this line I just ruled out would represent the center back of the skirt. So I line the folded edge of my fabric with the center back line. So there you have it. This is a skirt part that has been cut out. This is the front of the skirt. I'm holding the waistline right now, and this is the hem, right? We use the front as a guide to cut the back. This is the back. This is the waistline of the back. The chalk mark you see here represents the center back with 1 inch zip allowance, and this is the hem of the skirt. So next, I'll be introducing you to the fabric pieces that we're going to use to pull gathers to make our frills to form our 3-step tier skirts. There they are. So I want the 3-step tier skirt like I said earlier. This would be the first step, followed by the pink beautiful crepe fabric, and the 3rd step. I'd cut out this for the front, and I'd done exactly the same thing to the back. Now the dimension of this fabric is 7 inches in length, which includes all our sewing allowances, and 40 inches in width, so we can pull gathers and have fullness to this skirt. So I'll go to my machine now, clean up the hem of the skirt, and pull the gathers for both the front and the back. We have already begun fixing our frill to our skirt foundation. We have fixed the first step, as you can see. So I'm going to show you how to mark to fix the second and the 3rd step. So we'll just flip this over. Alright, so that's the first step, the marking for the second step, and the marking for the 3rd step. These are our frills with gathers pulled already. So we'll just go to the machine. And sew this to the marking. And also sew the 3rd step. So we are done joining the tier. We have step 1, step 2, and step 3 neatly sewn to the foundation, and we'll do exactly the same thing to the back. So there's the back and the front. Next thing we're going to do is to join the sides. The side seams of the skirt has been joined. So now we'll go ahead and join the waistline of the bodice to the waistline of the skirt. Our dress is almost complete. Hooray! The dress is almost done. One last step. We'll fix a zipper, the center back. So the zip has been installed and our dress is ready. I forgot to mention, my daughter is 1 year 9 months, so the body measurement I gave earlier on would be good for babies between 1 year 6 months to 2 years of age or more. So next footage should be of my baby rocking her dress. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Please give this project a try and let me hear your feedbacks. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.